All right. Good afternoon. After a few computer issues this morning, or PC issues, so my Windows machine is off in front of me at the moment, so I will be limited as to what I can see. I've got my phone here with chat. So I guess first things first, give us a wave in chat and say hello. There's been a call out for puns as well, so yeah, get your puns ready. Oh, well, the numbers suddenly jumped from 5 to 2, so good afternoon to 2 people. Not flipping to code until somebody gives me a wave in chat. It's the cost. Right, I guess I'm going for a session of talking to myself. Excellent. So, I was just having a quick catch up on what we were up to last week. Hey. No, you're not late. I guess it's only been a couple of minutes. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sean. I feel a bit weird sitting here in silence. Need some music or something. I was just saying my PC is bust. It's not playing ball, so it's just dead in front of me right now. Out, and that's the door. It's been a fun morning. Yep, PC's dead. So I guess I'm joining Friday Virtual. I joined last week's virtual club from my laptop. Maybe they've got. Yeah, I wish. Probably going to be some salesman. Oh, sounds like a big box. Probably for the cat. In fact, I know it's for the cat. Mez has been buying cat things. So it's just cat stuff. Right. I guess we should crack on. Hey, Lewis. Afternoon, morning, whatever. So yeah, I was just catching up on what we did last week quickly, because my memory is that bad. So it looks like we went over some models, got some models implemented. I had a little play around with Tinker, the PHP Artisan REPL for PHP. Excuse me. Updated the CD, the GitHub Actions scripts to deploy our new migrations to the server, so it would migrate. Today, views basically. We're going to be taking a look at how you take that data that you've got in your database and your models, and get it in your views. Not sure if we'll touch upon styling and stuff. I think there was a few people that were keen to kind of see it go through with Tailwind and stuff. Sean made an amazing discovery. Well, depends on your opinion, I guess, but your perspective. But we've actually got 5 Wednesdays. So last Wednesday, I thought we were going to have a bumper one today, 3 or 4 hours, smash out the product. But we actually have next week. So take that as you wish. But I'm here again next week, Wednesday. Hopefully we can, we'll probably end up with a bumper session next week, especially if I sit here chatting for the next 10 minutes like I usually do. So like I say, puns. I want puns in chat this week. It was very quiet, and it's very awkward when it's quiet. So puns galore. Hopefully we've got a Chris with us as well this week. He's usually good for winding me up. Which is always good fun. We had an early submission in from the infamous Chris Oldwood as well. He was writing a new framework, a new SPA framework for the East Anglian developers, and he's going to call it East Angular. Nice silence in chat. I'm gonna wait. I've got to wait now 30 seconds for the raucous, I think is the word I'm looking for. The raucous applause. Anyway, let's get on with this. So, I guess first things first. Let's flip over to the land of code and have a little look where we had got to. So, we have written our diary model and a tag model. Diary having many events or tags via this pivot table, and having many users as well. A user, of course, has some diaries, belongs to many diaries, so that we can potentially share a diary between multiple users if you wished. Perhaps you've got a DevOps diary or something along those lines to keep track of how long tasks take. That sounds an awful lot like time tracking. It's not a time tracking journal, it's just anyway. Right, we wrote a bunch of migrations to go with that, to get the database in order, whatever database we're going to use. In this instance, MySQL on our DigitalOcean server. So, all right, we now can log in to our application, I believe, if memory serves correctly, but we do have to come to our terminal and launch our service in Docker. So with a little bit of luck, Docker compose start, we're going to have no issues. Wow. Docker PS, let's just quickly check that it is indeed running. Up 3 seconds and up 4 seconds, looking good. All right. So back into our browser land. Now you're gonna have to excuse me, I've got a load of windows basically all on the one workspace so that you can see all this stuff. So it's gonna take me a little while to alt tab between some of these, I think. Right, here we go. I've found the Chrome window I need. So with a little bit of luck, hello world, it's a me Habalytics. So we know that this, oh, you can't see that, can you? Again with this not being able to see stuff. So yeah, hello world, it's a me Habalytics. This is actually a view itself. It's just not being rendered with any data at the moment. So flip back over to our code and let's have a look where that's coming from. I mean, we did touch upon it. I wrote it, of course, so we should know it is in our. No, it's not. It's in our splash.blade.php. So this has been established within roots, and then web, and within here we have a function for getting our splash page. So it's going to be on the /, so it's our root page, and it's going to return the view of splash. Later on here we've got this home controller. Now this is part of the login logic that we've created, so that home controller is only accessible from a logged in user. And then finally we set up a root resource. Now this comes when you create a migration. You can select to create resources to go with your resource controllers to go with your models. If we pop over here, find just that, and now I'm suddenly realizing that I might have already covered a lot of this. So yeah, like I say, my memory is terrible, so bear with, we'll catch up. So we have a diary index view here that's displaying our list of diaries. Wow, okay, yep, excellent. So I believe my username and stuff is still set up. So if we try and go to home now, going to kick out to that login page, let's try popping details in there. Excellent. That is not my password apparently. Good question. So if we, again, I can't see this OBS anymore. I was on the wrong page, but yeah, you get the picture. I tried to log in. My username doesn't exist. So bear with. Let's have a little look. We can use the tinker and we can take a look under the hood. So let's use that tinker command from the artisan. Or not. Oh, missed a bit there. Exec. Oh, god damn it. The container. There we go. Right. I usually like to get a little bit prepared, but I'll be honest, I've been working all week. So finished at 12 and went straight into this and discovered my PC doesn't work. So yeah, I'm a little bit flustered this morning. All right, so users, or do we have a user? We do. I've spotted the problem immediately. I'm using the wrong email address. So if we flip back to Chrome, hopefully you're with me now. You can see I was using alexgon.com. I need to use norfolkdevelopers.com. Makes sense. Password is my password. We are logged in, and we're at the home root, which means currently we're rendering the. Can you see me? Nope. Currently, we're rendering this home root here, which is just saying, as we saw, you are now logged in. Brilliant. We should now be able to travel over to our diary index page, and we'll just need to do that. Excellent. Didn't follow you across. There we go. You should be seeing Chrome now. Yeah. Stream's not far behind actually. It's only 5-10 seconds behind, which is pretty good. All right. So we used a factory to generate our first diary, and hence why it's got a lorem ipsum title. Now, moving on, we have our diary. What we need to do now is be able to look at the diary itself. So we've got our index root here. Flip you over the code again. Got our index root here, which is generating a list of diaries. We've got our create, which is designed to show as a form. Our store root, which is the result of the post request on this form. And then what we're going to look for now is our show root. So in here, Laravel does some pretty nifty things with your resource controllers, and that is it has defined. So if I come into the artisan and I ask it for exec php artisan root and then list, you're not going to be able to read any of that because it's an ASCII table that's all been zoomed in. I'm going to zoom out. You're probably not going to be able to read a lot of this. But what we're kind of focusing on here is that these are the roots that have been generated off the back of that resource. So we've got the roots already here. What we're now looking at is this diary/diary root. So this, no, we're not. Hang on a minute. We're looking at this diary root, sorry. So diary here, the slug, that can actually be the parameter there. That could be the ID of the diary. And if we come into our show function and type hint that we want a diary, Laravel will actually do most of the heavy lifting there for us and actually go and get us that diary based on its primary key. So because its primary key is ID, it'll expect an ID in that box, and then it will actually get it for us. It'll go and do the fetch. Go and do the fetch for us. So all we need to do is return a new view, and this one is going to be the diary show view, and we're going to give it that diary that we've just received. I'm just going to pass that in as an array as our second parameter, just as we did with our first one here. Only difference is apparently I put a space here. So we'll follow suit there. All right. So if we now come into our resources, views, and our diary folder, because we're diary.show, we will create a new file in here, show.blade.php, and this will be responsible for taking in this diary variable and presenting it. So at the moment it only has a name, so let's just do a simple h1 and just say diary-name. Simple. Until I go to that root and it doesn't load. So let's go and find out. What we could do with is knowing the ID of our diary that we do have at the moment. So let's pop over to index. At the moment we're just printing out the diary name. Let's put in square brackets the diary's ID. Now obviously we would generate a link usually, and we'd like to link all of these together obviously, but for now we'll just give it a diary ID so that we can see it. So if we jump over to the right page this time and I make sure that you're following along, you are, you can see our old view, and if we refresh this now we've got our ID. So if we take this ID, pop it in after our diary, so diary/1, excellent. We've got our return now with our H1 with our title on it. Perfect. Now this would be our view into the diary. It would be our view for also actually creating those tags and creating those events. So we're going to need some forms on this page eventually. We're also going to be needing to list out the events that are in this diary. So, do we have any events in the diary yet? Let's go and have a quick look. Let's go and look at, again, our tinker command. So php artisan tinker. Let us grab out that diary. So we can do diary find, and we know its ID is 1, sorry. And there it is. Excellent. So if we just ask, has it got any events? It has. Excellent. We've got a tag event here. So what we will do is we'll consume this event on in our front end. Before we do that though, what I'm going to oh no, yeah, okay. We'll just there. Sorry, right. So if we now it's going to be an ordered list, and we're going to loop over our diary events. Now we're going to need to use some again an iterator on this. So we're going to say for each diary events as event, and then we're going to say for that event that we've got, we're going to present its name. So event name and the value that's been associated to it as well. Now the value isn't within the scope of this object. So what we'll see here is when I've called in these events, we've got a tag. Now these tags can be shared. Once you've got one test tag, then everyone's going to share that same test tag. So what we need to do is attach to these using a pivot table, which is what we've done. And we can see that our value is in our pivot table. So we will just come in here and we'll say the value of it is event pivot, if I can type, pivot, and then value. Excellent. And then we'll end our li, we'll end our for each, and we'll end our OL. Perfect. With a little bit of luck now, when we go back to our, go back to our page, and refresh. Excellent. We've got a entry from our diary now. And we can create more of those. So if we knew how to use my keyboard, if we come into, can you guys see the terminal on that screen? You can't, so let's flip over to the terminal. If we come in here and now add a few more events, so we're going to need perhaps a new type of tag. We don't need a new type of tag. We could just use this same test tag and give it a different value this time, or it's in fact the same value. So let us do that. We will say diary find one, and on the events, and notice this time we're going to use the function, the method of events, because we don't want to return the collection. We want to instead return a relationship, a belongs to many, a builder, as Laravel will call it, a relationship, sorry, a query builder, I believe, anyway. So if we now say on this that we want to, and I always get this wrong, it's either associate or attach. I'm pretty sure it's going to be attach. We'll find out in a moment. We're going to attach the to ID1, which is our tag of test here, and we're going to pass in our pivot values. So we're going to say that the value is, and in this instance, hello world. Finish off our attach brackets, semicolon. Excellent, a null is a good sign, surprisingly. So if we now pull out our events, oops, not the events method, the events as such, we now see that we've got we've attached another instance of the same tag, but this time with different values. So if we refresh now, we have 2 events within our diary. Perfect. Just checking when at what point I should come. I've just realised you didn't see Chrome, so we'll come over to Chrome. Sorry, everybody. I can't see these things until I look over on my phone. On my there we go. So now you can see. Sorry, I'll repeat. We've both got both those events, those tags have arrived here now. So currently. Sorry, Lewis, I just spotted your message. Which code did we not see? Sorry, this is awkward. I'm going to have to get the PC fixed at the weekend. Let me pop back to Codeland. Can you see Codeland? You can see Codeland. So I'll just go quickly over. I mean, I think just this, right? That I've just done. So this is introducing those events now with the pivot value. Sorry, somebody actually watched one of the older Laravels the other day, and he just kept messaging me to say, "Oh, by the way, this isn't on the screen right now." So if there is anything you're missing from the old event, do please message me. I'm happy to like copy paste and send some stuff across. There is of course the GitHub repo as well. So. Touch word, the latest lesson is also in that GitHub. It was around the time you were defining events, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that within the terminal here? Do I have the Chrome window up? Right. So I'll go over that again. So we have our diary. You can see this, but I'll make it bigger. Yes, perfect. So we've got a diary, the first one here. We can see that we've got our 2 events, and what we can now do is, like I say, we can pass in and we can use the method version of events. That will return us a builder, a Laravel relationship, and then off the back of that, we can then ask it to attach. Now you can, if you wish, pass in a model into this particular instance, and it will go in like its primary key and use its primary key to make the relationship. However, you can also just pass in whatever that primary key is. So if it is an ID, then pass in the ID. If it's a UUID, then pass it in as a string here. But Then, second parameter takes your pivot values. So any values that have been defined on that pivot table. So on our tag, on our events relationship, there's a pivot for value. So we need to pass it in a value at this point, and we'll say, sorry, Lewis, and that. And excellent. So now if we look up those events again, we've now got those 3 tags, all the same tag, all the same thing, but just with a different pivot each time, a different value, and a different created at and updated at time as well. And then if we return to the land of Chrome, and I'm going to remember to push the button this time, we will have 3 events in our diary. Cool. Swig of coffee. What I do need to do, I've just spotted on the stream, is I've zoomed everything else in, GitHub and everything. Forgot to zoom in my local host. There we go, 175%, that looks a bit better. What I can also do is zoom in my dev tools. Ugh. God. Stuff begins to look really terrible when you zoom in. Alright, cool. We've got our pages. What do we want to do next? So there is a couple of issues with the code that we've got currently, the models. I'm saving them, I've pocketed them away, so that we can do a little bit of a fix at some point with a migration. So, which do we want to do first? I think we should continue on our views. So, continue fleshing out this. And what we want to be able to do now, first of all, I guess, is to create a diary, right? So we want to be able to get to a form and create our own diary. So let's bring you back to code. I have to keep saying that so that I actually push the button. We are looking now at these 2 parts of our resource controller. We're looking at the create method, which in itself is pretty boring. And we're looking at the store method. So the create method in this instance is just going to return as a view with a form in it. Doesn't need to do anything too clever at this instance. Doesn't need to get any data. So we will say, and I'm apparently changing my quotes all over the place here. We're going to go with double quotes. View diary create done. Bish bash bosh. We'll come over to the diary screen. Diary resources section. So we're going to go to resources, views, diary, new file, create blade.php, and inside here, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to create a form, right? Its method, oops, I always get this wrong, is going to be post, and its action is going to be the URL, right? Is that the wrong way around, or is that the right way around? I'm pretty sure it's going to be method URL action post. I never remember. Anyway, this is going to be posting to the diary create view, the diary create URL. Excellent. And what it needs is an input, will be a type of text, and a name needs to match our fillable attribute of the model. So it's going to be title. That's it. That's it for now, anyway. Now, this is this is it. This is it for now. This is all I'm going to write, hopefully. This is going to trigger our store route. And what I'm going to pass into here is a dd, die and dump. You can just use the dump, but we're going to use die and dump. And we're going to say we want to die and dump the request. Perfect. Let's go and look at our form first of all. So if we go to diary/create, we have our form with our method of post and our action of diary create, and I'm seeing nobody in chat that's screaming at me that I've got these the wrong way around. So maybe for the first time in God knows how many years, I've actually got them the right way around. We now have a form with an input with its title field. So if we pop a title in for our first diary and pop an enter key, we're going to hear that post is not possible. Curious. Is it not post? Am I losing my mind? Oh, 1 moment. Oh, you can't even see. Oh my God. You couldn't see any of that. I'm really sorry. Again. I'll show you the massive error I've got on my screen now. There you go. So, apparently I'm wrong. We need to have a quick look at our roots. And I need to have a quick look at the create root. Because apparently it's not a post, which is weird. Oh, apologies. It is a post root, but I've got the URL wrong. It needs to be posted at diary, not diary create. Where are we? In the diary. Why is this not caught up yet? Why are you not on my code screen? Come on, catch up. There we go. This needs to be /diary. There we go. All right. So now it's going to accept a post method to the /diary root, but there may be other problems. So we have our diary create form again, and I'll bring you along with for the ride this time. There we go. Cool. And we can pop in here, first diary, tap enter. 419, page expired. Any quick ball guesses at why that is? How long do you wait? I haven't seen many live streams, but how long do people wait generally for an answer, I guess? But anyway, CSRF tokens, cross-site request forgery. This is what's been triggered right now. We don't have a CSRF token in our post, so Laravel is not going to accept it. We simply need to come into our form. I hope this is right. It's been a little while. And pass in a CSRF token. The little blade thing's gone down here. Why has it gone down there? Get up there. I'm pretty sure that's all we need. Oh, didn't bring you over there, did I? Because I'm a loser. I wish they just do it automatically. I wonder if I can get some scripts to check what's on focus and trigger OBS for me. Does anyone know if that such a thing exists? Anyway, I should be able to just pass it this method or something along those lines to get myself a CSRF token on the page. I might even have to put it in as a hidden input. I can't honestly remember. So I'm going to go to diary/create. Yeah, undefined token CSRF token. So the zip point, I'm going to just refer to the docs. Boom. Blade templates. There it is. And at CSRF. Excellent. There we go. Right. This should render us our input with a hidden value of our CSRF token. CSRF. Difficult to say. As it has done. So we have a hidden input now with a underscore token and a token inside it. Now what they've done in the background there, of course, is generated a little session key basically that's going to live around for a little bit. And if we submit first world, if we submit our form within a reasonable amount of time, we're going to get through. So we now have our request this is our DD request, right? So this is what a dump looks like in Laravel world. It's a little better than the old, classic var dump. Gets all sorts of interactive features. For example, you can kind of expand some of these and have a little look at the things contained within. 1 second. But this is what we will use in order to build up our new diary. So back to code and back to our diary controller. Just checking chat. All right. We have our request. We need to create a new diary. Do we have our diary? We've got our app diary namespace. I don't know why, to be honest. Oh, in order to get this. Excuse me. So now what we can do is we can say diary equals diary create, and we're going to pass in the variables that have been given to us. And we can use a bunch of methods on the request method, the request class, in order to get those parameters, those values out of the request. So we're going to use the only method, and this will take a array, I think, if memory serves correctly, an array of parameters that you want extracted from the request. And at the moment, the only parameter we want extracted is the title. Do we call it title or name? God knows. Title, perfect. That's going to create us a diary, and then we can return a redirect to our diary. Now there's a few ways you can do a redirect. You can do a named redirect, which will pass to a root, so you can give it a root name. In this instance, we're going to do it fairly naively, and we're just going to say /diary/ and we're going to pass in the diary's newly given name. Newly given ID. So the diary create method will basically new up our diary, fill it with the variables from here, and then attempt to save it. Now, should it fail to save it, it will throw an exception, and we can catch those exceptions. We will cover that. All right, so with some luck, we're going to be able to create a diary at this instance with our newly created form. Very ugly form, but a newly created form nonetheless. All right, so we're back. We're going to go to diary/create. Unexpected. Brilliant, brilliant. What have I done? Anyone? Unexpected object operator. Oh, I think it might be in the Is that unexpected? Have I just done a JavaScript thing? I quite often break these sometimes. I think I've done it maybe the JavaScript way. God knows. Excuse me as I assign that to a variable, and we'll move on. Oh, you can't see it, God damn it. This is what happens. I get a little bit flustered and I forget to keep following you along. Right, so I'm just going to extract the ID and put it in there. I think I'll just go now. But there's some way of doing string interpolation that way. If I had more time, I'd probably look it up. There we go. Our diary create page is now working. By the way, no puns in chat, between you lot. Yeah, I'm disappointed, to say the least. All right, first diary. Perfect. Name doesn't have a default value. I knew there was something going on. I knew there was some kind of weirdity. I knew that we hadn't named part of this title or name, right? Okay, you can't see that again. I'm really sorry about this. Really bad. I need to keep checking over on this side on my phone. It's currently set on my 4G, which is probably... See if I can reduce the quality a little bit. There we go, 144p. I don't want to see my face in anything more. All right, we have messed up here, and when I say we, I mean me. Sorry. Our field is called name, not title, so we need to act appropriately. Now we could go and update the table in the database, or we could go and change the fields that we've created incorrectly. So we will come to our create view and we'll update this to be name is name, and we'll come into our diary controller and we will pass the name parameter, and we're good. I think. I think I know. I might have been a bit naive. So request, the request only thing that we're getting there. I have strong suspicion that we actually need to probably key that ourselves. So there is a way, I thought, getting it as keys. Yeah, there we go. Both of these must exist in array or dynamic list. So what are we getting out of request only? Let's have a look at it, shall we? Let's come over to our Sublime. We will dump request only. I'm sure this is keyed, but I might be wrong. God damn it. Just comment out that redirect. I used a dump in this instance, so it didn't die. If we do a DD, it will die at that point and ignore the redirect. If we refresh, hopefully I've still got post variables. No. Getting murky now. It's commented out. There's a DD above it. God knows. God knows. Just delete it. Oh, this is getting ridiculous now. What do you mean there's no... Is this some kind of cache thing? Some kind of caching thing, I'm guessing. Yeah, it is named. Moment. So why is that not working? And the redirect of /diary/diary. Let me just look up create. Just make sure, you know. So this is where you could do it. So you can new up the flight, set some variables, but there is here we go. Apparently you still have to. I'm thinking of a different method then. I didn't think you had to call save on it. Maybe maybe you do. Fair enough. All right. Although the error that we were getting is different. Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out in a minute, I guess. Let's call save on it. All right. Chrome. You on Chrome? Why is it not called up? There we go. Sit in awe for a moment there. Right. Weird. I could have sworn the create method just saves it as well. Anyway, so we're taking fields from our request. All right, the name field from that request are getting sent in. We're now saving it. We're extracting the ID out of it, and we're chucking it into a redirect, which is why we are now on this method. We're right. Oh god damn! I didn't. The amount of times I keep forgetting to bring you across to the window that I'm looking at. Jesus, excuse me. Sorry about that. Right. So we're creating with our request variables. Yeah, we're extracting just our name. We are saving it now. We are extracting the ID that has just been assigned, and we're returning a redirect to the newly created diary, which is why we've now ended up on our first diary page. And if we go to /diary, we're gonna haha, we're not going to see it, right? Yeah. Any guesses? So, what have we missed? Well, we've missed this stuff, right? We've missed the assignment. We've missed creating this diary actually for this user. Yeah. So we'll need to assign it. We need to basically grab our user, like we've done here, right? We need to tell that user, just as we were doing earlier, that they have a. I'm going to use the method version of diaries in order to get that relationship builder, and we're going to attach the recently the recently attached recently created diary, which has got a ID there, and in this instance we don't need to pass in any pivot values. So now when we create our diary, we're going to create a diary not only and be redirected to it, but we will also be able to get back to it. So diary create, first diary. Oh, is it second diary now technically? Some admin could potentially come along and fix that first diary for you. Tap enter to submit the form. We're going to end up on our second diary and note that we've got an ID of 3. If we now delete diary, with a little bit of luck, we now have a 1, 3 or 2 diaries in our midst. Excellent. Let's turn them into links so we don't have to generate our own for ours from now going forward. So we will come over to our index view of our diary where we're generating our LIs at the moment. And let's create ourselves a link to the new diary. So that is going to simply be diary and then diary ID. Oops, close our little handlebars, close our @mouth, and then stick in the same text as we were. Drop that LI back, A, and then of course we don't need that anymore. Alright, so we should have some links now to our newly formed diaries, and we can start clicking about. Cool. diary 2, this diary that we didn't assign to anyone, shouldn't be able to access that, should we? No. So what we can do is there are a number of methods or a number of ways of going around basically implementing roles. You can obviously just fairly naively do it in code. So what we could do now is come along to, Jesus, I'm not showing you Chrome anymore. So I was just showing you that that we've now got that diary 2 and we can access it. So we have our diary 1, we have our diary 3. The diary 2 is not technically ours, diary ID 2. So we probably shouldn't be able to access that, right? We shouldn't be able to just basically enumerate through people's diaries until we find one that works. So let's resolve that. There's a few ways, like I say, we can do that. The simplest would be to come in to the view method here, the show method, and actually just check whether or not this user owns it. So we could just say in here if, and we'll need that user again. So we'll auth user ID what do we need to do? Sorry, I'm having a moment here. Right, so we can simply say, actually, sorry, diary. Now, does diary have users? It does. So we can say, I've just realized you're still on freaking Chrome. Come over here. Sorry about this. There you go. Right, so we can simply come into our show method that's producing this, this endpoint at the moment. And begin to ask it whether or not the person has permissions to, right? It's a little bit of a naive approach. There are many other ways that we can go about this. We can start adding permissions to the actual model itself, but just for demonstration purposes, let's just do this for the moment. So we're going to just say diary users contains, like so, I think. Contains auth user. I'm not sure about that yet, but we'll find out. And then if it doesn't, so we'll put an exclamation mark at the front. So flip that, and we're going to return an abort 404. Let's have a look. Did Alex write it in 1? Probably not. I don't think the contains method will work for a start. I mean, I'm celebrating, but if we go to diary 1 now and it's still a 404, and okay, there we go. That was easy than I thought it was going to be. So we now have our diaries, but we're not allowed to access diaries that we don't belong to, that we're not in. Now, like I say, there are a number of ways you can go about this. This can become a lot more complicated. You can use permissions. We could potentially be checking the request. We could also be putting in middleware to check that the person owns the thing that they've got in there. Owns the thing. There are a number of ways of going around that, but for simplicities, for simple sakes, we're going to just stick to this this check here to see whether or not the current auth user is contained within the diaries. Now, if anyone wants to get more complicated or drill down on that, we can do. I'm just a bit conscious of time and getting through a lot of the stuff that we've still got ahead of ourselves. But this will do for now. All right. Next method, I guess we should probably just go method by method at this point, is the edit and the update. Now, these, quite as the title suggests in the description, are for updating the resource. Now, the edit one is the same as our create one. The difference, though, in this instance, is you potentially may want to look up the thing. You may want to pass some of that information to that view in this instance. So, we are going to return an edit view again. Return, view, diary.edit, and we're going to give them the diary that's in this instance. Yeah. Ooh, a pound. A diary. Cool. And then we're going to come again to the resources directory. Sudden panic that you weren't on code, but I'm looking over it. Looks good. No chat either. Sad times. Resources, views, diary, and we're going to create an edit. .play.php. And again, we can probably clone a lot of this across, right? So we get, oops, if we go to the right thing, we're going to create a form again. This is where it gets a little bit confusing. Now, for our edit, if we look in our roots, we can find our edit somewhere in here. Is our get edit, and our update is here. This is the response. So the one we're writing now is this one here, and then we're going to post, or in fact put our new details into the diary update method. Now, put and patch are not, as far as I'm aware, methods you can pop in the method box. So Laravel has a way of basically allowing you to kind of override the method that you've actually used and tell it you're using a different method. And it's similar in scope to the CSRF. It's a little tag that you drop on the page to basically flip it. So you'll still do a post, but then the Laravel will pick up that input and say, actually, this is and in this instance, a put. And again, I can't remember the thing for it, so we're going to have to Google it. So, where are we going to be? Probably front-end blade templates. Probably this method field. Boom. A similar makeup. So it's a method post, but the method is actually secretly a put. I don't know how secret it is, but yeah, anyway. So we'll pop that in there, at method put, and we have our name field. Now, this instance, we should hint at what it was, right? So we'll pass in a value, and not forgetting that we have access to our diary that has been, again, pre-populated for us because of that root, because it's got that ID slug in it. Parameter, not a slug. We've passed in the diary, so in our diary method we can now say diary name is our existing value for our input field. Hit save, pop over the Chrome and make you followers. I'm not going to forget this time, hopefully. So if we now go to the diary page and then to we'll need to pick one that we own. So we'll go for the first one and we'll say diary/1/ and I think it's edit. Yeah, there we go. It doesn't look very obvious, but this is the that text field again now, but with the value already entered into it. So let's call it the placeholder diary now. All right. Now when we submit this form, nothing's going to happen because we've got to write that, right? So if we come back to our diary controller, we're now looking at the update. And this update one differs slightly from the store one in that we've got a request in our store one, and we've got a request and a diary within our update one for obvious reasons. So what we can do is we can come along and we can just say diary fill, okay? I'm going to just say request again only, and we're going to pass in those same fields. So there's this name field, right? So we'll copy this little array out here. Oops, don't know why I copied it, to be fair, we could have just typed it. And we're going to fill, and we're going to save, and then we're going to return, redirect, and we're going to go again, probably try and extract that ID. I'm sure that might have actually just been because I wasn't saving it, to be honest, but we're going to carry on with this form of using this ID. And then we're going to redirect to that one that we've just edited, right? So we'll just copy this. Redirect, diary/ID. Job was a good one, with a little bit of luck. So if we now come back and submit our placeholder diary, hit enter. The put method is not supported in this read. Brilliant. Now, the issue here is, one, I didn't take you across to the code land while I was doing that. I just looked across like a moron. Jeez, how many times am I going to do that today? And two, our action or our URL is incorrect. So let's go back to code world and take a look at our edit. All right. And up in our action, we're still posting it or putting it now into /diary. We actually need to post it at the diary that already exists, right? And in the same vein as getting it, we're going to put it onto the diary/diary ID. Now, we'll just check that. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Put for a diary update for diary/diary, according to my terminal here. I'm going to probably zoom in a little bit, actually, now, just realized. That looks horrific. I wonder if there's a way to make it like auto. Do this table, not shit. But yeah, this is the route we're looking for to post into, to put into. Sorry. So we're going to update our action. There, we're going to go back to our point here and can't refresh because the URL it's posting to is old still. Oh, hello. What have we done? Expecting a bracket. What have we done? What have we done? I don't know. You know, just repeat the same action, expect a different result. Diary fill. What is wrong with that? I have no idea. So we're looking at this error on in Chrome right now. Unexpected pipe. Now I'm not sure if it's this one or that one it's complaining about. But it's got me puzzled. Am I being stupid? What's wrong here? There's got to be something above it. What the hell? I'm desperately hoping somebody's going to solve this in chat. Oh! Oh shit. Come on, somebody's got to be able to answer that in chat. I don't know whether I'm going to move on until somebody does. I'm like clicked right on it. Come on. Show some activity in chat now. Unless my phone's like stopped. I don't know, maybe it's not picking up chat anymore. He says, hopefully. No, you're just not very chatty today, again. Alright, well, code by myself, I guess, like I normally do. $1. Missing $1 because I'm a moron. Alright. Hurrah! I almost didn't dare take you back to Chrome for a moment there, just in case. Anyone remember what we were doing? You've been... yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Okay, so what were we doing? I think we were editing, right? We were editing the diary 1. We were going to say that it was a placeholder diary. And a... whoop whoop. It's now a placeholder diary. And if we go back to diaries, it's called a placeholder diary. Sweet. Okay. Next thing. I mean, beyond the fact that we need a load of links and stuff to actually resolve this, but next we need to be able to create an event, right? Now, how we go about that is somewhat up to us, I guess. Now, we've got a resourceful HTTP controller right now. So if we flip back over, excuse me. Oh, crept up on me. Right. Although, I just realised I don't have a remove route yet. I mean, this is somewhat simple. Say that, it's not actually entirely simple. So let's quickly do it. We'll have a diary, and I can't remember how you remove them now. So back over to Eloquent, back over to our blade, our Eloquent ORM. Don't often have to do this, I guess. We don't want soft delete, although we can implement those. Just delete. Okay. I wonder whether it might be a remove or something. Destroy. Oh right, okay. Destroy is when you know the ID, but not the you don't have the model. I think we've got the model already. Yeah, diary. So, right. Diary delete. And again, here we go with the reason for potentially abstracting this away. So we need to confirm that the, in fact, actually, for a lot of these, we do need to begin to confirm that the user owns it, right? So edit will return a 404. Update will do the same, I guess, unless there's a better status code for an update. Put 404 seems right. Product not found. Thing not found. The thing you want to update has not been found. And then finally we'll do the same for the delete method. So we're going to check that the diary is owned by the current user, and then we'll delete it if they do. And then we'll need to return a redirect. This time we don't have any diary to redirect to, so we're just going to return to diary, the endpoint, the little dashboard or whatever we want to call it, the diary index view. All right. Now, the reason this is complicated is not because of this. It's complicated because in order to actually trigger this route, we're going to need to do some weird things. So, in our list of diaries, I guess we might want to introduce a little bin. So that you can bin your diary. So we're going to use a form, and I literally did it a moment ago, and I still can't remember which way around it is. I'm going to try it again, just because I hate myself. Is it method? It's going to be method equals post. action equals the URL, and then in this instance I think it's the same style, so we're going to go with diary/diary ID. And we need to use our CSRF helper and our method helper, and this time we're going to say it's a delete, I believe, although it's weirding me out that that's become purple. And then we're going to end our form there, but what we're going to do is pop a button in here of type submit. Oops, and we're going to just put del in there. At some point we might have some icons to use or something. All right. So now, if we bring you over to the Chrome lands and go to our diary index view, we've got a semicolon. Where's that come from? Oh, from there. Okay. We have a del button. Actually, I really don't like that, so I'm just going to make it delete. Don't know why. We're going to make it delete. There we go. So we've got a delete button, and with some luck, I can delete my secondary that I've created now. Done. Simples. Simples. We'll go back to our placeholder diary. So now we have implemented all of the resource routes that we need, for now anyway, for our diary. So we've filled in all of the missing slots, right? Final act will be to basically institute this middleware. Now the home controller is instituting the middleware in its constructor. So for now, we're going to follow suit and do exactly the same. We're going to say that in order to hit any of these endpoints, you're going to need to have some authentication. You're going to need to pass the auth middleware. Perfect. Save that. And then hopefully now, not only will we need to own the item, but we won't trigger any issues where we don't actually have a user, because we need to be authenticated in order to access this route now. Cool. So, second step will be to implement some forms in order to allow you to create new events. Which and where or what controller we use to do that is entirely at our own whim. And I haven't decided yet, which is why I'm talking about it. So, I've just realised you're not in Codeland either. You are in Codeland, and you need to be in Chromeland. And I've just closed that. Alright. Placeholder diary. So we now need to create a form in order for you to create new tags, right? New events in your diary. Now we're going to do that on a separate page, and I haven't decided, like I say, whether I'm going to do that within this controller. It's not really a diary action. It's also not really a tag action. It's kind of a diary tag action. So let's create a new controller and call it exactly that. Hardest thing, like to say, is naming things. So we're going to come over to code, or I'm going to bring you over to the code this time before I forget. There we go. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. Good. And we're going to use one of the Laravel generators. Make controller. And it's going to be a diary tag controller. Enter. Controller created successfully. And over here we have our controller. Perfect. We're going to first of all bring in our auth middleware, and we can do that in our construct. And now we get to define our routes as we did, our methods for this controller, and then we'll hook our methods up to a route. Okay, what do we need to do? So we need a page to hold our form for creating a tag, and we'll need an endpoint that will accept the post event that's happened, and add that to their diary. Cool. One moment while I just work out where I'm going now from here. Okay, so we need a form, like I say, for creating one. So let's follow suit and call it a create, right? Show the form for creating a new diary tag. And again, fairly simple. We are going to put it in, where should we put this view? I'm going to put it under this one. So we'll call it diary tag create. Seems sensible at this moment. That might change. And we'll create a blade.php file. Great, perfect. And inside of our diary tag controller, we'll just update this to be diary tag.create. All right. Our diary tag create page is going to need a form again, and it's going to take a post. That's the. I'm literally doing it again. I can never remember it. Forever. Okay, now there is a slight difference in this one, in that we could, if we liked, type hint our diary into this, just the same as we were type hinting it into our diary controller a moment ago. So if we import our diary model, so it knows what we're looking for, and pop our diary $diary in here, we can then return that along with the view. Do we need to? I don't know. Will we need the diary? I don't think we need the diary, having said that all. So instead, do we even need the... We might not need those either. We will need the tags in a bit, but I will cover that in a moment. That, I think, is fine. We don't need it. We will need it in the store. So what we're going to be writing in a moment is this store, which is the reaction to the create, of course. And in this, we're going to need that diary so that we can assign the new event to it. All right. We'll need to create the create form. And we need to create, excuse me. Oh, something repeating on me today. All right. So we're going to jump over to our routes here. And we're going to implement these routes that we've just created. So we'll need a route get. And this is going to be diary / and then the wiggly brackets here to pass in a parameter. So it's kind of a wildcard. So we're going to be passing in the diary's ID into that area. And then let's call it event. I don't know why I've got this mix over of tags and events. Tag. I think that'll do. That's fair. It doesn't particularly matter, but I'm a bit of a stickler for these kind of things. So we're going to point it at the. I know when you've typed something so many times, or you've looked at something so many times that it begins to not make any sense anymore and you think you've spelt it wrong? Well, diary has just moved its way into that for me now, so I'm going to consistently think I'm spelling it wrong. Alright, so this is the get view. We're going to send that to the create. Alright. And then we're going to send our post to the same endpoint, and we're going to send that to the store method. Okay, cool. So now if we ask roots for roots, it's probably not going to be very visible because it's ugly as sin when it's zoomed in, but we will, if you'd like to trust me on it, I guess, have, oh, there we go. Have our new definitions in here, 2 new roots. Okay, zoom that in again before I forget. Okay, so now we have our create. We know which endpoint it's going to, and I've suddenly realized that, oh yeah, that's fine, I think. Is there, I think there's a way, if you just drop this action. So what I'm thinking about here is that we have, sorry, I'm not explaining myself. We have to post against this route, and in order to post against that route, we need to know the diary's ID, right? But we are already on the page with the diary's ID on it, so I think we can just chop this down to post, and it will post against the page it's on, which seems like the right way to go. Means we don't need to pass in our diary, just to get an idea out of it. So we'll pass in CSRF. We do not need to use the method this time because we're going to just use a simple post. All right. So we'll need an input of type text, and the name is going to be tag. And then we're going to need an input of type number. Raise my eyebrow because I don't think that's a thing, and then we'll call it value. Number, I think. God knows. I think that my memory is absolutely awful. I spend a lot of time googling things, as I think most of us do, really. Cool. Just checking. Chat. It's interesting to hear Sean say too much for JavaScript. Is there such a thing, or is that just the way? It's like it's just the phrase he used. If he's even still there. He's probably zoned out into some JavaScript now. Okay, screw this PHP malarkey. Okay, cool. Diary 1 loads. Diary 1/tag loads. And we've got these amazingly descriptive boxes. This is for our tag, and this is for our value. And number does exist. Yeah, cool, I wasn't going crazy. Okay, so the response to that. Oh, I just realised you're not with me. God damn it. It's a universal truth, what? That any amount of JavaScript is too much JavaScript, or that I am always going to be doing too much JavaScript? You can say the second one, it's fine. Everyone else can do as much JavaScript as they like, but Alex, you can stay well clear. Thanks very much. Bye. Cool. So we're on the Chrome, and we're going to flip back to our code land because we need to complete our method, right? Our diary tag controller method at the moment is just blank. Okay. So here is where we're going to get a little bit potentially controversial, a little bit opinionated. So I'll just caveat that basically to start off with. Still not certain whether this is a good route, but tags are shared. Okay, so once somebody has created the tag of football or running, or I don't know why I'm thinking of so many sporty things because I will never be tagging any of those. Once somebody has created the cycling tag, there's a tag at least I'll use once a quarter. Once you've used the cycling tag, then all other people that tag to a cycling tag should, with effect, with some hope, get tagged with that same tag. And the way we're going to do that is, like I say, fairly opinionated, because I like title case things, as you've probably seen throughout the time I've been typing. I'm obsessed with title case stuff. Everything has to have capital there at the start of it, and I do it in the middle of sentences and stuff. This is like, I don't know, it's kind of like this thing's important. You know, this is like this is a main important thing in the sentence. I better capitalize it. But anyway, enough about me. We're going to do some things with the tag that's been sent across to us. So at the moment, we are just accepting a text field. That will be set to change, but for now, let's just pretend we're going to always stay with the text field. What we can use, what we need to do is either find a tag that already exists or create a new tag so that we can assign that tag to this diary, right? We've got a potential name for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say tag equals, and we're going to use this tag model. I'm going to say tag first or create. Okay. Now this method is fairly self-explanatory, but anything you pass into this into this first parameter is going to be the fields that it looks for in order to identify if it already exists. If it finds something that matches all of those parameters, then it will return that. If it doesn't find anything that will match any of those parameters, then it will use those parameters to create the item and return the newly created item. If you like, you might have a situation where the thing that you're looking for and the thing that you're going to create, if the thing doesn't exist, God, this is getting convoluted, it might be different. So you might want to look for something with one field, you know, look for something with in this instance, a name, but then if it doesn't exist, create it with some defaults. In this instance, we don't particularly mind. We're just going to be passing in the name of the tag. I'm just going to have to go and check now. So we're going to check over on the tag model, fillable name. Okay, there definitely is name. Right, so we're going to say name. In fact, we don't need to do any of this again because we can get that out of the request. So we'll say request only name. Ooh, name. Spaces apparently missing. Excellent. What that's going to do is, like I say, either create it or get me the first one of those. However, this is where, like I say, we're going to get potentially opinionated. I'm not going to use this request only method. That would give us the keyed name with its value, right? We actually open up the brackets here. I'm going to pass in our name key ourselves, and then opinions coming in. We're going to use the string title. I'm going to have to look it up. There is a string title case. It's probably just title, and we can pass it that name, and this time we're going to use input, which will return just the value of that name if it exists in the request. All right. Oh, don't put semicolon at the end. What we now need to do is quickly look this up. So we'll pop over to Chrome, and within documentations, we're going to find the helpers. Scroll down in here. These have changed fairly recently to actually start using a bit more some more classes, which is why I'm not so well. I'll say it's why I'm not so familiar in it, but the reason I'm not so familiar with this is because I've got terrible memory. All right, it is just title. So this will take all of that, convert it to a title case, and again, this is because I've got opinions. So we'll take the case off of that. And now we're taking the name that they gave us, converting it to a title case version of that, and then either looking it up or creating it. Perfect. All right. And then all we now simply need to do is say diary events attach, pass in the tag, and then pass in our value, right? And because this time we can just have a keyed object, a keyed array of values, we'll use the request only, and we'll pass in value into this area so that we're pulling in the value from the form. That's going to attach our new event, and then simply need to redirect at this point. Now, where are we going to redirect? We're going to redirect to the person's diary. Unfortunately, in this instance, we have everything we need in order to create that reference. And again, just for, at this point, consistency, I'm going to extract that ID from the diary we have, and we're going to say go to /diary/ID. Oh, return it. Also notice that we're missing PHP doc for this. It's not necessary, but my eyes will stop screaming. Eyes? My eyes aren't screaming, you know what I mean. Just grab one of these and one of these, like so. And just pop those in there as well, so that we've got our diary and our param of request. Looks good, looks good. Okay, so if we now flip back to the world of Chrome, world of browsers, sorry, or whatever, we're on that diary one tag create page. Okay, so we're going to create our first new tag, and we're going to give it a value of 5, and then we're going to come in here and enter because somebody didn't put a submit form on their form. Oh, enter doesn't work. Oh dear. Does enter not work when you've got more than one field on in a form? Oops. That's not a thing, right? Why is this not submitting? Anyone? Any ideas why a form doesn't submit while got basically nothing on that form? Let's refresh the page. New tag with a value of 5. Enter. That's so weird. Alright, well, I guess I'm putting a submit button on that page. So this will be this one. Diary /tag create, yep. And then we'll have to put a button. Submit. Button feels weird now. Anyway, submit. Where's my button? That's so weird. Where's my button? Oh, there it is. I swear it's trying to wind me up. Okay. For the 100th time, I'm going to put new tag in here and 5, and we're going to hit the submit button and find out that there was a reason it wasn't submitting. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Alex is a muppet, basically. So probably all of you are screaming, or at least Chris is screaming at the screen now, that if you used an IDE, you wouldn't have this problem. But I hate myself, so that would be that seems like too much like it wouldn't be hard work. I'm not interested in that. No. I'm not going to cover why I use supply for this today. Okay, illuminate support string. Perfect. And with some luck, we should be able to just refresh this page now. We can't, no, because attached doesn't exist, because it's on a collection. I think I've done the thing wrong here. Yes. I keep wanting to ask whether anyone can solve this Blake thing, but nobody ever seems to step up, so I'm just going to do it now. So the issue here is that, as it's saying, it's receiving a collection, which means the getting of the thing has happened already, and we already have a collection, and we can't connect attached to a collection. So if we go code, the reason for this is that I've used the wrong version of events here. I've used the property, which is going to return the actual things. If I use the events, I'm going to get that builder, and it's going to actually work. So if we go to our page now, I have no idea what you were doing on that page. I don't even know what that's mapped to anymore. Oh! It's mapped to F5 that I, for some reason, decided I was going to use F5 to refresh this page. Been using Control-R for years. Anyway, whatever. Right, what I was just saying was this doesn't look right. Does it? Oh, we're on our diary at this stage, and we've redirected to diary 1. We've created, here we go. I'm getting there now. I'm slowly getting there. So we've created a tag here, right? But it doesn't seem to have a name. It's only got a value. I wonder why. Let's go and track that bug down. So into code. Tag is being given a name here. How curious. Why don't we have a look in Artisan? Can you see Artisan? You can, but maybe I'll make it bigger for you. I'm just going to go and have a quick look at that tag. What's going on with it? So let's have a look at all tags. Oh yeah, okay, we've got a tag here without a name. How strange. And it is name as well. So it's this thing that's falling through. Curious. And it seems to have an empty string as a name. So I'm assuming this string title and this request name did not work. So let's have a quick look. What did we call it? I already know what the problem is. What do we call it though? Call it tag. Right? So we're not getting it. Because, excellent. That was a quick, easy fix. So we can come in here and just say tag. Yeah. Save. And while we're at it, let's delete that tag because it's offending me. Tag destroy 2. I assume that's a count of the amount of things it's destroyed, but it's just a weird response to tag destroy. And tag all. Perfect. And if our cascading has worked, we won't have any problems within this page because we were assigned, this diary was assigned that tag. If we refresh, it's gone because what's happened is the not showing you, am I? If we refreshed our Chrome page now, yeah, perfect. We're seeing that 5 has disappeared, or that 4th event has disappeared, and that is a result of this, the cascades. So that has cascaded through and deleted everything that's related to it. Sometimes you might not want that to happen, and there is a way of handling that as well. So you can handle and say that it was attached to an archived thing now that doesn't exist. by removing that cascade and handling it yourself, essentially. I like to go with the cascade, but then there are moments where you probably, there's use cases for not using that cascade, but it's pretty handy. Okay, back to Code World, and I'm having a quick look at the time. 2:10. Okay, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Okay, cool. Back to Chrome land. And I've already punted you back to Chrome, apparently, or I never brought you to the forefront. Either way, terrible. Okay. What do we need? I mean, a link on a diary would be pretty sweet. I'm keeping UI stuff to a minimum, obviously, at the moment. But a link to the creation of a new tag would be pretty sweet for now, right? So we'll just come into the diary show view. We'll come in here, pop in a to create new events. We'll just say href, and we don't want we want it to be a relative thing. So if we do, how do you do that? I don't know. So fine. Diary. We've got the diary on this page anyway. So diary ID /tag. To create new events, click here. Very old school UI we're going with at the moment. On our Chrome page now, we have our link. Take us to a form to create another tag. So went cycling 14 miles. Cycling 14. Perfect. Okay, we have 15 minutes. What can I achieve in 15 minutes? Good question. What is there left that we could achieve in this next 15 minutes? I've got some notes that basically say, do the views. amazing notes. Okay, I think I'm going to tackle the issue. And this issue is going to require some migrations. So, if I bring you back over to Codeland, there's a couple of problems. One problem is with the creation of the tags, not the tags, the diary tag pivot. And that issue is with a mistake I made with the string value here. It should be an integer, potentially a big int, although I don't see anyone using, what was it, like 2 million or something? So an integer would probably be fine. Question at this point is, with migrations, has it gone on production? Is it on UAT? Do you care? So I do. We're going to do stuff properly. We are going to try and migrate this field to an integer. Now I'm not too sure how we go about preserving the values in that column, if I'm honest. Usually I would drop a value or drop a column that I'd created an error, and I would create a new column that I haven't created, hopefully an error, and it's basically that. So it would usually be a case of haven't used that column up until this point, was a mistake, is either needed to be something else or a different name or a different type. So perhaps this isn't a 15-minute jobby. So we need to look for a 15-minute jobby. And I think the 15-minute jobby I'm going to tackle today is going to be layouts. So this is pretty ugly, right? I mean, it makes a change to see normal plain browser HTML and CSS, but it is pretty ugly. We will be working on that, and votes as to whether or not you want to see me doing all of that. I'm going to be using Tailwind. Yeah, let me know how much of that you want to see. If you want to see me convert a view into a Tailwind UI, just one of them, and then paste the rest of them in. What I was planning on doing is basically creating the view with very basic HTML elements, and then pasting over the top of that the Tailwind view, basically a pretty view. If you want to see those Tailwinds being created, let me know to what extent you want to see those being created, and we'll cover those next week. For now though, in the next 14 minutes, I'm going to implement a layout, and we'll call it a day. So, in code now. In code now. We have a bunch of new views, right? And a layout folder. Now this might not exist out of the box for yourselves. If you haven't scaffolded out the auth, I don't think you'll get this layouts folder. Inside is a named layout. Okay, so it's named app, and within it you'll find all of the base of a view. So this one here has a nav bar. It's looking very bootstrappy, and there are some checks within it, for example, to add authentication links if relevant. But the final task of it is to yield some content. Now, if we go into any one of the auth views, we will find out how this works. So, our login blade.php extends the app layout, and then it declares a section called content and ends that section. Now the yield and section go hand in hand. So at the end of this process, it's going to go down this entire tree, and then whatever was whatever was in the last section is going to be yielded into this main here. All right. I don't like any of this. So we're going to start again. All right. Now I'm going to define it as a new layout, and I'm going to call it my default blade.php. Cool. And then I'm going to copy in some of these features. So we're going to copy in the top section here with our meta and our CSRF token. Now this is for use with perhaps JavaScript implementations. It comes out of the box within the Laravel thing. It's not actually, as far as I'm aware, used unless you use it, basically. But that was what I was looking for earlier. The function version of it. I think that's the older way of doing it. Before we got the at CSRF. We don't have any assets. We will cover those next week, depending on what everyone's feeling in regards to how involved that wants to be. We will pull in the application name as its title. We will do some stuff with that as well, using a yield statement in there in order to yield back a title that's been produced by a template at a later stage. And for now, that'll probably do us. What else? Scripts and links. We don't have any of those at the moment. So we'll crack on straight into our body of our site. And we could create our nav at this point, but to be honest, we will just yield, our content, like so. Anything else that we need to bring out of this? Don't think so. Why has that not been highlighted? Oh, because we're in HTML. Weird. Laravel blade. There you go. Cool. Real simple HTML layout now. Now we can go into our other views and we can begin to get these to start using them. So let's work from the top down. The tag. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say extends, and we'll pass it in our layout. So it's layouts.default. I think. And then we're going to say that this is our content section, like so. And I actually, the form is to put these at root level, but I don't like that. So I tend to do this. And we'll end our section. I tend to tab it. I don't know why it just doesn't. It looks less messy, I guess. All right. So that's an extension of the create view, and we're going to need to do that on most of these. So I'm going to copy this one, and we're going to go to this one. I'm going to paste it in. Damn it! Hang on. Paste it in, and then move that up. There we go. And then we'll do the same with the edit. Copy this. Put it in there. Tab it across. Index. Same deal. Oh. The only difference is I've somehow copied the old one. Default, no, it wasn't that, was it? Here we go. End section and this bit. Paste that. Oh, I know why I did it. If I go enter, there we go. And then bring that up. There we go. And then show. Same deal. Paste this, move this up. Just Control Shift and up and down arrows to move it around. I've got a little app installed, Screen Keys, to show you some of these shortcuts, but unfortunately it doesn't work on its own. I have to show you my whole screen, so I'm still kind of trying to avoid that. Layouts.defaults. Looking good, looking good. This is when he suddenly looks back and realizes that I've been on Chrome for all this time. Okay, no, defaults, everything's defaults. So now if we go back to our views in the Chromes, and I'll bring you along with this time. There we go, it's flashing away on my phone. Right, refresh. Nothing's changed. But there was a little jump, wasn't there? Did anyone see the little jump, possibly? What we have now is our normal views being used. So what I can do, if I wish, is to come in here and let's just do something really obvious. Come into our default blade, bring you over to code, come into our default layout, pop in a style that says the body background color is red. Red. In fact, let's go with I wonder what purple is. I never tried the default purple, I didn't think. And refresh. Perfect. That did not work. Is the diaries view definitely using this? Oh, I haven't shown you either. Perfect. This is working brilliantly. Show layouts dot default. Yeah. Default background color purple. What's going on here? There we go. It's sort of working now. That was weird. Weird little delay. But now every page is purple. Absolutely lovely. I mean, it's quite similar to the Nordev purple, to be fair. Not far off. Not far at all. Okay. Any questions at this stage about the stuff that we've done, stuff that we've covered? Any questions about, well, anything really? Anything that I must cover next week? Anything along those lines? Give it a shout. But I think this is probably, well, this is a really good place to stop, I think. We haven't achieved a correct drill. It amazes me how little we're achieving, to be honest. But we will get there, hopefully. What have we got left to do now at this stage? I need to resolve those migrations. Another thing that I noticed as well is that we don't actually have a field at the moment to hold the date at which you did the event. So the created and updated stamps could be that, but it might be nice to allow you to specify a particular time at which you did something. So we might also need to introduce an at or a date field to the diary tag pivot. So yeah. Next week, there is one more addition that needs to be done to this page, and that was to introduce a selector, so a select box that allows you to select an existing tag that you'd already used before. And then there is also a scope potentially on this page as well here to introduce your favorites, so your favorite tags, your favorite type of tag, and then you'll be able to just click it and drop that into your diary. Like I say, let me know between now and Wednesday whether or not you want to see the process of turning these into Tailwind views. Yeah. Next week, if we're not spending our time am I still there? Green, I think. Can you guys hear me? I just got a message to say OBS is disconnected. I think it's connected again now. See how I can tell. Switch to code. Yeah, right, yeah, I'm still alive. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I think I had a brief outage. So yeah, don't know how much of that you heard, but next week it would be sweet if we could skip over the beautification process to a certain extent. I can introduce a bunch of templates in the downtime now to make these a bit prettier. One of the things we need to introduce, that we will need to do, is to introduce a select box here to select tags that you've already used or are already in the system, and a box here as well to highlight your favorite tags. What I would like to cover is some stuff around SVG charts. It's a really nice way of making server-side generated charts that I've come across. I'd also like to cover some of the push notifications and scheduling in Laravel as well, because that stuff is pretty awesome. So yeah, let me know how interested you are in Tailwind. I'm more than happy to go through it, but I just don't want to talk the hind leg off a donkey. Is that a phrase? I don't want to teach people to ducks to suck eggs, all of these kind of weird phrases, but yeah, I don't want to teach people to Tailwind if it's not necessary, and we can just make this beautiful in the downtime. When I say beautiful, I mean within reason, within Tailwindy reasons. Tailwind does help you make things look beautiful. It certainly doesn't come from me. But yeah, I think that's us again for a nice clean 2:30 finish. Like I say, we have actually got 5 Wednesdays this month. I've somehow managed to pick a month with 5 in it. So yeah, join us next week. Hopefully have an announcement on October's sessions. I always get these months confused. on October sessions. I've invited quite a few people to talk in August, as I keep saying to them, and they keep going, "Oh yeah, got a year to sort out my talk." I was like, "No, actually, sorry, I meant October." But yeah, that's the fun. All right, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Oh, quick shout out, I guess. Couldn't hear me through that entire thing. Hello. Oh, there we go. All right. So yeah, thanks for joining us. See you next week. And bye bye.